Hi, everyone. I have to admit, I was slightly not sure if this would be chosen. And when it was, I was like, oh, bleep, I've actually got to do it now. There is a bit of history here. There's always a bit of history, but it's not as negative as some others are saying when it comes to what's going on with AI and so on. I'll go through the slides actually. I always like to do a table of contents just so you know roughly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a live demo, which is going to be asking for input from everybody, but we're going to start going how I approach this, how using AI, how do we begin? That's always an important part, isn't it? Where to start. And Windsurf, I'll tell you why I'm using Windsurf later and the approach I took with it. Then we're going to have the live demo. Then we're going to have the pain points after the live demo that I found. I smile a lot because it saves the sarcastic comments coming out. And then the plan of action that I had after finding those pain points, and the reason why I had to do the plan of action after using it. So some of this is not going to be telling you the ins and outs of everything AI, but it's going to be going through my journey that I had when I was asked to use it. So I'm just saying that now. I am not an expert. I am just an adventurer. So, oh yeah, I've got to get a better photo. Sorry, I swear that one gives me a monobrow. But anyway, I've got a photo of me there smiling. It's meant to be a professional photo. So I asked them to take the weight off around my chin and they didn't. It's terrible. Anyway, so I worked in accessibility since 2000 because it was a joy. I love talking to people and finding out that a few tweaks to technology can make a huge difference. And so every testing job I had, I included accessibility. And then eventually people wanted me to do it for a full-time job. And I was like, yay. So I've also, because I've done testing, all the different testing roles, I have done automation and programming. I have to admit, I did most of my programming at university. So I know how to create a calendar or no, a calculator or a temperature, like Hello World. And that's as I can't now. Although I can, I'll show you how. I've performed audits, which means I'm aware of how things should work for users. It's not always about the checkpoints. It's about making sure that the user's not blocked and then trying to work out the checkpoint it fits to. But also I'm an invited expert with the W3C, so I should be a bit more positive there. And I ask a lot of questions, and I hope all of you will too, because I'm going to go past this slide now. So yes, using AI, how do we begin? When I say we, it was me, myself, and I. So I've used a lot of AI generated images in this talk. I normally look for random clip art that I can use. And this one, oh, I forget what, I asked it to use the words AI, accessibility, and working things out. And it's created, and it had lots of text in the image that wasn't English or any language that I know. So I had to keep changing it until I got this, which was, it looks like a weird computer with a book being fed into it and something coming out of it with a pencil on the side. So that's AI for you. It's artistic. So one of the things I've noticed with artificial intelligence is there's a lot of buy-in. Last year, I went to a different conference, which was just about testing, and every single talk was about AI and how it can do your job for you. And every talk I went to, the AI didn't seem that intelligent. I think they're doing a few fake news things. It seemed like an automation tool to generate data. That was the most that I got from most of those talks. And most IT roles can use it. This is when I give a little secret away. The new developers in my company don't know how to code. They know how to use an AI tool. That says a lot. Although saying that, no, I won't go into that. Right, you can ask me afterwards for the private sharing, as they say. And accessibility is required for services in Europe. The EAA is coming up. The company I work for provides services in most of those 27 countries. So I did what any good accessibility person did. I told the VP of engineering, we're not accessible. There could be 27 different countries raising tickets against us if we don't try and work on it. And I was thinking, I wasn't thinking this. This is what I put into the talk to be positive. Can we use these legal deadlines and tools to address each other? What actually happened was the VP of engineering said, Helen, fix it. Here's a license. And I'm like, what? This is not what I intended. I intended just to raise it and say, we're not accessible. We need to be accessible. Luckily, with my history in automation and rusty Hello World development skills, I thought it can't be that hard, can it? Yeah. What is it they say about thinking more of yourself than you should? Yes. So now here's another AI generated picture that we have. That's meant to be me, but AI made me look thin. I like that, yeah. So I should have had AI as my photographer for my headshot. I've learned that one. Where I'm talking to everyone with a pen and paper. Does anyone use pen and paper anymore? Oh yeah, they do here. Okay, right, just not me. No one can read my writing. I can't read my writing, it's terrible. And so conversations to kickstart the whole thing. So the conversations were in my head, because I'd asked the VP and he said, you fix it. But I shared my concerns with the key stakeholders. That was my boss and the VP of engineering. My boss was like, make sure there's a paper trail showing you've shared your concerns, which wasn't that helpful either. And I shared concerns with everyone. And how do you identify the key stakeholders? It's the ones that can make the changes. That's the top level. Decision makers, team leaders, accessibility or usability advocates. Hello, that's me. So I had conversations with myself as well. Yes, like, should I do this AI? Should I be adventurous? And I did outline the legal risk, the 27 items. I should have added in the ADA Title II items, but that's less likely to impact, I don't know, because that's more federal agencies, isn't it? Or people dealing with federal, whereas, yeah, anyway. So I thought I'd outline the risk, like there's jail time involved and I live in Ireland. I have heard it's not a holiday. And I highlight the issues faced, like we need to start training people. That was the other thing I said. And when I told the VP this, he was like, we don't have time for brain-to-brain sessions. And I'm like, what? I'm not going to give a straw to my brain to let you suck it out. So yeah, apparently, do you ever get the feeling your job is slightly undervalued after you speak to these key stakeholders? Yes, I felt that way too. And as you can tell, I'm very bitter and twisted about it all. So I thought I'd do a talk to shame them all about it. And training is important. Yes. The reason why I say training is important is because what I found in my journey is it doesn't matter how much I train the AI, if the people using it don't know what they're doing or what they're expected to have coming out, you might as well give them a chocolate teapot. You know, it's going to look nice, but won't work. So the Windsurf approach, I was told to use Windsurf. It's based on Codium. It uses AI. Like I say, half the developers don't know how to code anymore. I actually spoke to one of the developers. Is this true? Is this the VP of engineering saying the truth that you don't know how to code? He was like, I know how to code, but the new guys don't. It's about 50-50 for me. I'm like, what? So from the developer's mouth, yes, Windsurf's the way to go. So I've now changed hair color because I'm looking concerned. I've got a red head now. Looking to one side going, oh, what do I do? So I'm starting the adventure. Get a license. Oh, it took me a few months. You'd think getting the sign off, you'd get the license instantly. No. Then there's also getting time. I also need to work out, what am I doing? All I was told is here's a license that you eventually get activated when you nag the right person. But how am I going to start? What should I do? I was told I was not allowed to bother the developers because they're too busy to talk to me. Which, as you all know, anyone who's worked with me, I don't let that stop me talking to people. I will soon talk to them. I just don't ask for permission anymore. Am I training the AI? How many of us were at the keynote last night and thought, I don't want to share my brain with the AI now because it's going to replace me? Anyone? Yeah, there's a few, one or two hands, but basically, my husband's told me to not train AI so that I can keep my job. And I'm like, it's not Skynet. I don't know. But it is a question. How do you train the AI? Do you ask questions and it learns? You'd think. Do I need training? Probably. I know my limits. I know enough to give anything a go, but how do I know how it's set up in the company? How do I know what the developers are using and so on? And I found out, I thought, well, to start out, the best approach is to try the tool out and see what I can do. And then the other one's about me needing training, because I think if you find out the limitations that you have on the understanding what the gaps are, then you can ask the right questions. Because I often find if you go to someone with a blank piece of paper and tell them to fill it in for you, they'll never do it. And then will I need to train others on how to use the AI with accessibility in mind? Because we all know, how many of you have ever tried using AI for accessibility? Yeah. And when you've asked it to create something accessible, does it do it as it's told? Yeah. So if someone knows nothing about the needs of accessibility, how are they going to actually get the AI to do what they want? So if you don't know how to use a screen reader, how can you test that it's screen reader accessible? So yeah, that's why I was like, no, training's not necessary. You cannot just do stuff and expect people to have it working. Am I trying to safeguard my job? I don't know. So here's me starting, and I get to like page 2 of the setup screen, and I get presented with choose key bindings, default VS Code, Vim. I'm like, what the? So I Googled it. What does it mean? What does this mean? And I Googled it. I was like, oh, the keyboard shortcuts. Oh, that makes sense. What's the difference? I just went for the default one in the end. But yeah, that was my learning curve of they're using developer talk at me thinking I know what I'm doing. This is really bad. I'm setting myself up for a fall here, aren't I? And then when I installed it, I tried to choose, because you've got about 10 different color themes you can choose. And I tried to go for one with light background, dark colors. And so the first time I opened it, I always go, is it accessible? And what do you guys think? Is it accessible? Can you read all that text? That's a subtle hint, isn't it? Yeah, with instructions of how to use it, which is really helpful. So if you can't see the words, you can't really use it that. So here's me doing a screenshot with the TPGI color contrast analyzer, highlighting the failing text that is not 4.5 to 1, people. I'm sure if you've got multiple color schemes to choose from, they'll say, oh, you chose the wrong color scheme. But shouldn't they have one that says, we're the accessible color scheme, the stronger one? And I also noted when I had a screen reader on doing some of the testing, it said, oh, you've got a screen reader on. Do you want the accessible version of this? And I'm like, what? So that it's using its own overlay kind of thing going on. And yes, I spelt colors right. Aren't you proud of me, people? And the text is information on how to use a tool. So yes, basically colors, low contrast, and it's hints of how to start. So I often find if you're trying to tell a new person that's just signed up how to use your tool, isn't it good they can read what you're saying? Anyway, am I the only one that does this? Every time you open a new tool that you've got to use and you try and work out, is this accessible? because I do wonder, when I showed this to the developers later, because I decided after my experimentation to show the developers my findings, they're like, we don't care. So I'm like, okay, so it is an accessibility thing, isn't it? So now we're going to do a live demo because I'm going to let you guys drive. Well, no, I'm obviously going to type. I'm not going to make people come up here and type for me because that would just be lazy, wouldn't it? Just asking for a friend. So I've got the tool, I'm going to drag it over. So this is Winscribe that we can use, and Cascade is based on Codium. And I should increase the text size of the, I'm going to, oh, what is it they say? Exit slideshow, try and get all this down, change the resolution. Because if you guys can't read what I'm doing, it's no use to you, is it? I could have done this on my other screen. It's not mine, it's default. Okay, display resolution. I'm going to say scale to 175%. Let's see, does that make it more readable? Is that more readable to everyone? Yeah, cool, because I know not everyone can read it, but for those that should be able to, it helps. Anyway, so Cascade, you can tell I've done some projects already because that's something I did earlier. I'll get my mouse back on the right screen. So we can ask Cascade to create something, which is how you start. You don't need to know how to code, by the way, people. You just need to ask the right questions. So what do you want me to do? What do you want me to create? Any volunteers? Anyone? I could do something a developer asked me to do, which was to create an accessible authentication page. But, you know, someone's already thought of that. Anyone got something else exciting? Capture, oh, okay, so create a new project for, shall we be a bit more specific than accessible? Shall I say WCAG 2.2 level A and AA compliance? Yeah, yeah, okay.
You shouldn't have to. It'll write all over it that it's WCAG2 and 2.2 AA compatible.
Yeah, I forgot, I am a slow typer. You're not meant to agree. You're meant to go, no, I can read it really well. That's thank you for typing at my reading speed. No. Capture page, I think I shall say. Capture authentication page. Does that sound good to everyone? Do you think it's going to do it? Yeah, well, we'll press enter. So it's generating, it's telling me it's generating in a low color contrast. It's going to first create me a new project directory and set it up so it's generating. I was told by the developer I can just automatically accept everything it does, but I don't like letting the bots win. So I manually confirm everything. So it's now, it's creating packages using JSON or JSON. I have to pronounce it correctly, don't I? So it's generating just a few more seconds and it's showing me the diffs of it's created something. Because there was nothing there in the first place, it's plus 30 minus 0, which means that's how many changes it's made. And now it's generating the main capture. It capitalized my capture because it knew that I made a typo. Oh, how intelligent you are, bot. It's generating a few more seconds. It's creating, it's creating, it's creating. They've got a little whirring loading icon. Oh, there was an error. Oh no. Yes, we're going to run command and fix the error. Oh, that's quite a lot. Oh, right. It went bigger than my screen. So if anyone wants to shut the door, feel free. Now let me try creating the capture point. So it's uncapitalized it now. It's changing how it's writing things as well. It's capital C, lowercase for the rest of it. Now it's creating it. It's got 2 new lint errors. So there are error checking. There are automation. Now let's create our WCAG compliant capture. And it's creating, it's loading, it's generating just a few more. You can see why I did this as a live demo, because watching me do this as a video would have been dull. And oh, there's an error while editing. Let's accept the, because I haven't given it full permissions to take all my knowledge. Like I said, I'm not paranoid. I was told in a speech last night, my job's going to go. So it's still going. It's still loading. You wouldn't have thought it would take this long to generate a file.
Did I hear you say, right, so it built the CAPTCHA and now it's fixing the accessibility?
It's doing lint checks. I found out that we do have a certain company's checks, automation checks in there for the static text page. But one of the items I noticed failing in the systems that we've got, they created a new chat system where the buttons had the label of button, which meant it passed these ACS checks, but the screen reader user couldn't use the emojis because it was all button as you're navigating through. And when I highlighted this as not accessible, they thought it had crashed rather than you know, because if you say something's not accessible, IT instantly goes, oh, it's down, not, oh, it's not working for, yeah. And they also told me it wasn't built to be optimized for a screen reader. And I was like, what, you mean using HTML5? You know, that was the kind of, yes, anyway. Oh, okay, it's created it. Right, so now I need to find where it is. This is where I go over here, and this is showing my lack of knowledge, because normally it tells me in the chat where it is, but it shows, here we go, capture, there it is. Right, so if I close all these, my mouse keeps doing this thing of going to the wrong screen. So that's capture 2. I think that's the one I want. So I want to find the, yes, this is why I should have recorded it, because I can't find the file. So I'm just going to open up my folder and do it on my other window. Yes, that's clever. So where was it again? It's under, so C, users, HNIC, giving away too much of my details here, damn it. Human verification, here we go. I found all the stuff. So I'm going to use Google Chrome, and it's going to open it on the other page, which is really helpful. Oh, I think this is the one I created before, because if I look at the dates, no, that's the wrong one. Okay. It's not that one. I should look at the one with today's date. Oh, it is that one. Okay. But the date modified is not the same one. I should just double check the, yeah, this is one of those things. When you're doing a live demo, make sure you've got all the work sorted before you do anything. Oh, it's source components capture, right, yeah. Because the other one was the one the other developer got me to make. So, oh yes, I'm over on this window now. So it's in here, source components. Okay. That is the right one. So I'm guessing I need to keep, maybe it is just that other one. Did it? Oh, thank you for helping me here. This is why. Okay. I will go back to, yes, so in here, no, that's the wrong one. Okay, it's because I hid that bit. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Okay, someone's coming up to help me? No? Okay. Right. I'm going to try and find what I've done to the search stuff by, oh, it's saying to restart. It needs an update, right? That helps. There we go. Ah, that's why it disappeared, because it needed an update, right? Oh. It's gone very confusing, hasn't it? Right. So, let's try this again. Where is it? There it is. Right. So manage. What do I do here? Workflows, memories? I shall make this larger. So yeah, I had the same issue when I first, it says it's done and it has all these image icons, website preview. Maybe that's what I need to do. I just randomly click things and hope for the best sometimes. If the worst comes to worst, I will show you what I did for oh, I need I didn't give it administrator commands on my machine. I don't know why. I didn't want it to. There's a trouble with a large resolution as well. You end up with half the screen on your, it's a smaller screen anyway. It's thinking about it. If I do that down arrow, it's running, it's running, it's running. So I've clicked on a link that does a website preview in the hope that it will allow me to see the website because, oh yeah, I did install the Node.js first, so that was good. Checked command status. Oh, open preview, there we go. Aha, here we go. So it was that human verification. So, and there's two errors. Oh dear. Runtime errors. Text content doesn't match. Oh yeah, anyway. So we have a preview here. I'm going to copy this and open it in, oh, tell which hotel I'm staying at because I've got the little free Wi-Fi bit. I shall use that page to open it in here because I like to test in Chrome. So I've got two errors. What is 1 + 1? So human verification. This is an accessible captcha. What is 2 + 1? Verify. Need help? Press here to get a new question. This is what the screen presents. So what I'm going to do now, something I can do, I'm going to test it. I'm going to get NVDA. I should be sharing my audio, but it's quite quiet. I've put the speech viewer up, so I'm just. Oh, that's the max volume that I can get. Okay, so this is not very helpful to anyone that can't hear it because it's all about the visual, but what I will do is just describe what it's saying. So I've put the focus onto the page. I'm going to press H for headings, no, and then escape. and then Shift H. So human verification, the only text describing what it is a heading level 2. So I'm going to tab into the field. It has got the label associated. This is probably because I did something similar when before it didn't have the label associated to the edit field of what is 2 plus 1. It was all separated out and it was just edit. So I'm going to generate an error. And it did say it was a spin button as well, because it does have the up and down spin. So I'm going to press verify space. And it's identified an error. Please fill in this field. And it's put the focus on the edit field. So anyone help me here? What is 2 plus 1? Because I can't get this to work at all. Anyone? Anyone? 7, 20, 21. Oh, I'm going to go with 21. That sounds intelligent. Oh, it's now said alert, incorrect answer. Please try again. And it's updated it. What is 7 plus 8? I'm going to go for 15 just to see if it works.
It's changing those numbers.
It's changed it multiple times.
Oh, I wasn't even noticing that. Oh, that's really excessive, isn't it? So what's 6 plus? Okay. I'm going to go for help. I need help. Oh, it just generated and it took me back to the edit field with the 6 plus 7. Okay. Oh, my word. It's now 5 plus 6. And if I type in 11, it's not plus 6. What? No, it's 5 plus 5. No, okay, right. So this is really accessible, isn't it?
It's not
And have you tried enlarging it to 400% to see if it's functional?
Well, I always do the screen reader first, because screen reader quickly helps show everything else. But let's try the 400%. I should hide this. I'm going to stop. Oh, the 2 errors is covering everything. So we've got 2 errors. And it's covering everything, and I don't think it is accessible. I mean, the good news is it passed the ACTS checks, so it must be accessible. What does this say about automation tools? It's a small part of the actual accessibility process, and us humans, we are needed. Especially my co-drivers here today, because I would have not been able to get that to work. What is it they say? Don't do things without, I did practice, but I never know what people will ask for. So yes, it's now what is 5 plus 5. So I'm going to go back to it and say, okay, update the capture to not, one N in not, to not change when I type anything, only if, because this is the thing, I'm being very, I keep saying to people, this is like a child. And if I tell my child to do something, they are very literal and they will do it to the letter. And if I don't think of all those caveats, it's like making a deal with the devil. You have to think of all the caveats of how you're going to keep your soul. And it's the same with AI. You have to be very explicit with what you want. If you try to imply it, it's like with the let it make it be accessible. Yeah. And I type anything in the edit field. Only update when a button is activated or no, yeah, okay, I would say, and it's wrong, but there was one that says generate a new, need help, press here to get a new question. I do like that, need help, press for a new question. It's still what if you're really rubbish at maths? I mean, some of those answers, I do think I'm not the only one that's not so good at some things. Anyway, so we're going to ask it to generate. It's generating. Oh, it's telling me I'm going to generate the component to only generate a new capture when the new challenge button is clicked. It should be selected. Shouldn't we be agnostic with the Rather than any other input change, let me check the current implementation first, and then it's like looking at everything, it's editing, it's going, generating, it's generating, it's generating. I'm doing a running commentary because it's boring watching a computer talk, isn't it? No, just me, maybe, I don't know. Okay, the changes are already live, yay. That's nice. Okay, so we go back to the page I had opened, which I closed completely. Let's just try it on this one. So we press a refresh just to be on the safe side. I'm not going to turn on the screen reader because apart from the heading level 2, which technically is not a normative failure, it's just it should have a heading level 1. That's a nice to have, right? So 2 plus 0. I can't read, sorry. 2 plus 0. Any answers? 20, okay. Oh, 20, I'm just putting 29. Yeah, because I mistyped and let's verify. Incorrect answer. It's also highlighting the field with yellow. Incorrect answer. Let's try it. It's doing it again. It's still 2 plus 0. It hasn't updated. Let's see what happens if I need help. Oh, it hasn't changed. That's not accessible. Oh, no, it has. I had to press enter. Pressing space didn't activate the button. So, how much longer do we have on this? So I'm going to say, make sure the buttons activate with space or enter. Because what do you reckon it is? Do you reckon it's devitis, where it's not a button, it's a link that's made to look like a button? Just saying, because it should. Let's add explicit keyboard handling to ensure it works. So they're going to over-engineer it. Yay, isn't that great? Since we're using proper button elements. Well, why didn't it work? So it's made it, oh, it's adding lots of information and it's telling me everything. Proper ARIA labels for screen readers. Why do I need an ARIA label when there's text there? That's interesting. This is when I start looking at, right, so what's 2 plus 3? We're going to tab down, press space. Oh, it changed this time. Yay, it fixed that. But now the bit I always like to look at is, this is why I need to open it in the browser. See, people are leaving because they're like, this girl doesn't know what she's doing.
Cognitive function test.
Because it's maths, yes. Yeah, it should have a different, yeah, I've not even got that far yet. No, but it's good. I like the fact that you're contributing, and I tend to do one thing at a time. And I like to know, because it's saying ARIA labels for these buttons, what is going on? So I'm going to inspect. Oh, so it's got the text, need help, press here to get a new question. But the ARIA label is generate new verification question. So label and name, anyone? Why do you need an ARIA label when the text is present? Yeah, and also it's got focus, outline, none. Yeah, it's lots of great things, isn't it? But it passes ACTS, so it's accessible. It's all good. And yes, there is also like, right, so this time I'm going to say to Winscribe,
Is there a chance that the not spacebar working was actually a problem with your user agent? And that this, as its pretend little browser, didn't work with the spacebar on the native button? And if you'd had it in Chrome, the spacebar would have worked?
good question. You never know. I should have tested it in Chrome first, but when I pressed enter, it did work. And then when I tested it again after telling it to update it, it did work. Maybe I should have pressed space more than once to be a true tester, to make sure it wasn't just auto-generating a exactly the same puzzle it had before, because that can happen too. So yes, good question. Should I have tested it in a browser? Yes. Should I have tested it more than once? Yes. Am I human? Maybe. I don't know. I might be a bot. You'll find out eventually. So I'm adding a new bit. Do not use ARIA label for the button label if text is present on the button. Use label for, oh, do I do a space? Yes, space for. Also, do not, in capitals, remove focus indicator. Sorry, I like to do a running commentary of what I'm saying because my mood with the AI isn't easily conveyed through the written word. So I'm going to do it to write. It's generating. You are absolutely right. Since both buttons are visible text labels, we don't need ARIA labels. Let me fix that. So the AI agreed with me when I corrected it. That's definitely, you can tell it's a bot because any developer I tell this to, they'll be like, go away, Helen. Right, so, oh yeah, accept all, accept all, accept all, just keep going. This is why I was told by the developer I should just do the auto accept for everything. But just because it's easier to reduce the number of clicks doesn't mean, right then, let's have a look. So this has been updated. There's 2 errors still. I should say fix the 2. What are the 2 errors? Should I click on this? Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, it's basically a deployment error with the tracing. We'll test it in Chrome because then we can inspect, and my mouse wants to wander off over there. There we go. Oh, I didn't need to copy and paste because it's already there. Just refresh. Right, so here we just go back to the inspect, and it now has, it's just using the text. It's not even doing label full. But yeah, that was probably the correct way to do it because I was trying to show off. And it's got rounded focus. It hasn't got outline none, but it's done its own custom class for the focus indicator. So now we're going to address the next issue in the room that Becky highlighted. It's a cognitive test. And if I need help, it just gets me a new question, which is another cognitive test. So I need an option for a non-cognitive test. What is a non-cognitive test? Would that be that tick box that you tick to say I'm human? I like that one, but it always tells me I'm not because I've used a screen reader. But yes, actually, no, I keep joking. I think I am human. I like to think I am. I don't know. Right, so I'm going to say add an option to not require maths. I think that's the best way to go about it, see what it thinks. I'll add an alternative simple checkbox verification. Oh yeah, the tick. Let me update the component. Generating, just a few more seconds. Generating,
The tech thing is accessible authentication, which we're not authenticating, we're verifying.
But at the same time, you need to have an alternative to the math. Because as shown by my type in ease, I'm rubbish at math as well. Oh, you've got 2 options. You've got human verification, math question button, simple checkbox button. What is 0 + 1? Verify. Shouldn't it highlight which one's selected? Yeah, this is like now it's got all these options, But how do I know which one I've selected? I'm going to guess I've selected a math question because it says what's 0 + 1. And that's too hard for me to work out, by the way. So what was it again, people? 10? No, yeah, okay. I'm going to add, because straight away I can see that we do not know which option has been selected. So I would have those as tabs with a focusable element to show that I've selected this one or that one, or just something that makes it clear that I've selected this option. So make it clear to assistive. I'm adding the assistive technology because you know what it will do otherwise. It will make it visual and not for the screen reader with the ARIA selected, or depending on what it is, ARIA checked options. Make it clear to assistive technology and sighted users which option is selected for the question type.
Could we mention that we'd like that to be keyboard navigable?
Well, I like to think it knows some bits. I also find do one thing at a time, because if I do a long-winded paragraph, like with anyone, it skip reads. It reads half of it and ignores all the other instructions completely. I was told if you want to give multiple instructions to AI, you need to use bullet points. You know how ChatGPT will use a lot of hyphens and list out things, and it's because that's how it thinks. It has one command or one option per line. But I'm one of those, let's group it all into one big paragraph, and then it misses half of it. So, oh, and I've got someone saying, there are still 2 errors and I'm being asked, yes, I'm always going to be asked to accept the errors, but I'm just going to press enter and do this and just accept all now. There you go. Thank you for pointing out my typinese there, Thomas. Okay, it's enhancing. It's going to enhance with proper ARIA attributes and visual indicators. Aren't we excited? I can see it in the room. Everyone's really looking very, very excited by this challenging demo, mainly because the presenter's a little bit not great with her. Oh, my word. Okay, so the selected math question has a gigantic tick underneath it, which makes it, well, it definitely jumps out at you. I know which one I've selected.
Thought you successfully answered.
There is that. What does the tick mean? Does it mean that I'm... So now I'm going to... It does say selected math question. Right, let's get that screen reader going again. And and move the speech viewer over to the screen people can see. So I'm going to just tab. So it's saying selected math question, radio button checked, 1 of 2. So it's made it into a radio button, which, you know, because it's yeah, I don't know. Let's do simple checkbox and press space. Oh my God, we got the lovely big tick on the simple selected, and it does say that I've checked it. So, you know, it's, I think it's, if you, well, I find if you, yeah, but if you group it up, sometimes it's a bit hit and miss because it will sometimes miss some of the context. It was just the developers. Yeah.
Follows the instructions pretty well.
Yeah, I got a bit bitter and twisted at this AI because when I first experimented with it, I said I was making a chat feature, and it took me a morning of back and forths. When I said to make it WCAG 2.2 level A and AA compliant, it removed the keyboard focus indicator off the image icons as its way of making it compliant. And I just found whichever way I approached it, the logic behind the scenes is not always following with what I'm asking. Um, it is sometimes trial and error. And as you can tell, I'm not an expert. I've never said I'm an expert. This is my journey. And what I was told was the bullet points makes it easier for the AI to keep track of so you can do multiple items, but my typing is very bunched up. So, but yes, if I went about this a second time, I would probably author my questions first and then go in. But I wanted just to see what it could do without any direction, to see the gaps and to see I mean, have I selected the simple checkbox, by the way? It is quite, but it is one of those things. I do appreciate that I know enough to be quite dangerous. What is it they say? When someone has no training and given a tool to use, is it the point between the keyboard and the chair at fault or the tool's fault? And it was probably because I had no training. I was told, just fix it. And this is my approach to fixing it, was creating to see what it could do, to see what needed to be done. And this is just the trial of the learning what it can do without much guidance. And I should have Googled stuff, but I didn't. I thought I could work it out as I went. So, but yes, thank you. And on that note, I'm going to kill NVDA. I mean, no, so I'm going to end NVDA, not kill it. And I know the keyboard shortcuts and so on, but every time I try to do Control Q, it does something else. So yes, we have human verification. It does work with the space bar and not. Another thing I do look at when I'm doing this is, what is this image? It's an SVG that's hidden because you've got there, it's there in text. That's okay. I would probably say why that size, but this is all the tidying up part of it, I think, is now. We have something that has options of a checkbox to say, yes, I am human. No, I'm not lying. I think we should have that. Have the second one saying, are you lying? Yes. And if you manage to struggle your way out of it, you end up with the answer 42. Sorry. Anyway, oh, that's where I was going wrong. Damn it, the mice were always right. So I'm going to go back to the talk now because, yes, from this, I've learned that there's verifications that are going on. It has some awareness, but some of the learnings it's had is from previous interactions I've had with it, because when I first started out, the label that we see here wasn't associated to the edit field, and now it does associate. There are bits, but then I wonder, is it just local to my machine? Is this just learning according to what the user's asking for? Or is it learning and telling the rest of the team this should be, is it going back to the server that everyone's using? I don't know. So what I decided to do after all my exciting experimentation was work out my pain points, which is, I don't know what I'm doing. And here's another lovely AI image that was generated when I said, AI confused but learning. And we've got a very colorful head that could be an AI bot with lots of swirling colors coming out of the brain area. I think that represents me really well, my tangent city. But lessons from the work. General requests might not work as expected. Who expected that big tick? Anyone? Testing the results is a must, because just because it says it's accessible doesn't mean it is accessible, like when it took away the focus indicator. Or when with the chatbot, I had emojis after a reaction to a chat, to a message. And I also had emojis that could be added to the main message you're typing. which was great. Except when I got one of them working with the keyboard and expanding, the other one did nothing at all. Then when I got the other one to expand, it went off the screen and it didn't scroll unless I dragged it across to be able to see it. So although it said it made things accessible and it fixed things, quite often it wasn't lying, it was its truth. It didn't know any better. It was going by the technical, well, it's passing the ACTS checks. Asking for an update might have to have the phrasing revised. I did notice that sometimes how I phrased things made a big difference to what came out. So yes, sorry, what's your name? Yeah. Wayne. Wayne suggested working out your questions before you start. That's very logical, and I didn't think of that, but I think that's a very good point. Work out what you're going to ask first rather than afterwards. This is one of my hindsight kind of, damn it, I wish I thought of that. But yes, I think it does help to have the questions phrased out. But even with them phrased out, you should double check the results, because I also had to repeat questions more than once. I had the same thing about the focus indicator on that icon button. I said, please add the keyboard focus indicator. And it said, I have, and it hadn't. I said, please add the keyboard focus indicator. And it said, I have, and it did that time. And I was quite surprised. So sometimes you have, like with a child, ask it multiple times until something is achieved, or make it more clear. Another time I did it and I said, make sure you do not use focus none or outline 0 on any of the code. And that did make it slightly better. I said slightly because now it's not using it in CSS, it's doing it directly on the button, which is lovely. Yes.
Thing I discovered with this, you don't really realize how a sentence that you give it actually can have two meanings.
Yes.
And it'll answer this other question, and then you look and you go, I didn't mean that, and then you go, oh, gosh, yes, a human being could understand it that other way, and it's kind of like you kind of discover why we have so many arguments with each other, you know?
Yes, and for those that couldn't hear it, Wayne was saying that sometimes a sentence can be interpreted more than one way, and the AI might interpret it in a different way. A bit like when I told my team that the chat they'd created was not accessible, and IT came going, oh my God, why is it down for you? And I'm like, no, it just doesn't work with a screen reader. They both mean the same thing, but the different interpretations. And Wayne also pointed out it's why we argue so much with each other, and why confusion and consternation can happen. I'm thinking of Thomas the Tank Engine now because it's what I read to my kids. Anyway, so does AI learn from the previous questions? And I think it does in a local instance, but I wasn't sure about if all the work I was doing was going to actually transfer to the developers' sessions. So I had a plan of action. Guess what it was? Anyone can guess? What was my first point of contact? Provide training for me and for the team, because I realized this isn't going to work unless I go to the developers and say, you need to learn some of the basics. You don't have to learn how to use a screen reader in and out, but we need to work out how you're going to verify the code is accessible. So I thought I'd present this presentation to them, and the version I presented to them was very different to the one I'm presenting to you today, because they educated me a lot in this session. So I ran through the first draft of these slides, and also I have an image that AI generated where I've turned into a black male figure sat at the desk, surrounded by some humans and AI bots that are learning from my wise words. I'm smiling now, yes. Anyway, so ran through the first draft of these slides, noted gaps in knowledge. My knowledge, there was a lot of gaps in my knowledge about how the developers work with it, how we're going to address it. There was also gaps in their knowledge as well, because they were like, oh, but we do accessibility checks, it's all fine. So yes, both sides had gaps. And I found out that tools need explicit questions in the global rules. And this was very important information not shared with me by this VP of engineering because he had no clue how it works. This is something developers shared with me. They shared with me this large text file that I have to populate questions in that will then populate it for everyone in. So now I've got to think of all these items. My mind went, I'm doing this after I've been to Access U. But there are some accessibility checks in place. And like I say, it's ACTS. And there were new questions from the training. So I have another image here of two bots chatting to two humans in a laboratory environment. Is it just developers using the tool? Because some of them don't know how to code, some of them are testers and some of them are design. And I was told that it's the design part that needs more of the accessibility checks because that's the bit that designs the components and how they should work and how they come together. So going to the developers, it's like with our audits. If we do the waterfall audit at the end when it's already been built, then it's the developers that get the headache with the extra work. Whereas if you go to the designers, hi designers, sorry, I know there's a couple this side. If they have the ideas in place when they're building it, and they actually use the tool as well, they can help make the components accessible before they're implemented into the code. That's quite cool. So yeah, and test you. Yeah, I really should click ahead. So what are the global rules? Because yeah, they said to me, you've got to update the global rules. I was like, where are they? How do I access them? What do I do? Will the rules make everything accessible without understanding from the one using it? And the answer to that is definitely, yeah, no, definitely no. So Storybook is used with Windsurf, and this is a screenshot of the accessibility checks. And like I say, it is ACTS. So they were creating components that were passing all these checks, and they believed because they passed these automation checks, it was accessible and that was all they needed. And I think this is a common thing throughout our histories as accessibility consultants. People assuming something works without actually trying it. They should be better testers, shouldn't they? I do find it's a good starting point. It's not the end. I like the fact they've actually thought about it and they've added some checks in, but it needs more. And I need to be going through each of these components and work out things that I need to add in according to all the rules that are already there. One thing about ACTS is it's static. And I know that they're building this wonderful AI tool that's going to do all the testing and everything else, but the AI side of it has to know about what the interactions are expected. It's not just what the static page should do, but is there a confirmation that an action was successful? Is there an error message that is heard? Are the visual labels associated? Do the visual labels match the programmatic ones? Are you using HTML5 or Divitis? I did tell another thing when I did the chatbot first off, I noticed everything was divs with ARIA roles. And I asked it to use HTML5. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. It's all very upbeat, isn't it, when it does this? And it added to the image icons titles, which doesn't work with the screen reader. So I was like, when it's an image button, make sure you use an ARIA label. So I've got to add the rules in of when to use ARIA and not to just use it because I do think a lot of the systems being released these days are using third-party apps to do the hard work of the coding because Divitis is the way it's going. And I often get told a third-party tool created this or a third-party vendor did. And I'm not sure how much of it is actually coded by someone who can code versus someone who's asking a bot to do it. That's just my theory. Don't share that with anyone else. It might be recorded, but please don't share that. So, lessons from the experience. And here I have a lovely image of a metallic ball with the mind meld from the robotic head previously. Now it's basically the brain's exploded. And this is the mess of the brain explosion of the AI bot. I'm very descriptive of these. To be honest, when you saw the images I had to choose from, because Google Slides has this option to generate images, which is great, but I spent so much time generating the images, I forgot to write the talk. But yeah, lessons from the experience. There are accessibility checks used by AI. A lot of people will use Axe because it's free and it's available to use, so long as you don't nick their proprietary software and claim it's your own. So there are accessibility checks used by AI, mainly automation ones from Axcore. You can add more questions for each component being built. So because they've got it structured that way, this is how it works in the company I'm working for. This is the thing, everyone's tweaking it to suit their own needs and company needs. And I do like the fact they've got components, because how many times have you done an audit and you said, what are the common components? They're like, well, no, we do everything, every page from scratch, and everything is hard-coded page. Anyone come across that? I'm seeing a few sighs of, yep, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So I'm glad the fact they've got a functional library of components, because that will make it easier. Touch wood. I am doing this when I get back from I might stay in America a bit longer, I don't know. Because I'm going to be doing this when I get home. I have to add the questions, I have to add the checks, I have to add the verification of what should be working, and also think of how it should be implemented in flows, and to make sure that I'm sharing my brain with AI, aren't I? This is what I'm scared about. No, that's going to be my actual brains. Oh my word. Yes. Interactions are often not included because the automation checks are static checks. They are the code, is it coded correctly? It's not often looking at like the focus color or the bits that happen as you go. And that's something I think AI could help with, in the fact that if you code it right in the library that is creating the items, it can do the interaction checks for you. But you have to work out the interaction checks and how to make it a repeatable test. Because we all know if you don't make it with a lot of guidance and set rules, it's going to make up the rules itself, and you're going to end up with a giant tick. I'm going to keep going. I couldn't believe that giant tick. And yes, meeting the rules doesn't always mean it's as accessible, because like I said, with the rules for every button must have a name, it doesn't check if the name makes sense in context, which is why the chatbot they created using this codium was button for all the emojis, which is a little bit on the rubbish side. Oh my word. I didn't think I was going to take up this, because I had technical issues with my windsurf, wasn't it? Yes. So questions, anyone? I probably haven't answered any.
Yeah, to get questions online, please pass the mic to the person asking the question. Raise your hand, we'll.
I'll ask a question. If it has the title. It's turned on? Okay. So if it has the title, just because the screen reader can't find it doesn't mean it's inaccessible. It just means the screen reader is written badly.
There is that, but I believe the title element is sometimes not ignored depending on the screen reader. Sometimes you have it duplicated, sometimes not. Because we know about the limitations of how the assistive technology might be, yes, you're right, it shouldn't be ignored, but NVDA does ignore titles. And it just called it an image button.
But accessibility is not what NVDA says it can read.
True.
That's not accessibility. Accessibility is that a machine can recognize it and translate it into something that the disability can access. The fact that the machine that's supposed to be doing that isn't doing it doesn't mean that the programmer's code is wrong.
There are instances like on Android where images, if they were given alt equals empty quotes on mobile web, it would still be announced by TalkBack because it didn't acknowledge the empty quotes. And the solution was to add ARIA hidden, which is actually over-engineering it for a fault with the screen reader. I agree with you there, but I also think we should, it's a catch-22. What came first, chicken or egg? Should you make it usable for the users or should you make it technically correct? Because I had a chat that they created that was technically correct, but it wasn't usable. If I wanted to reply to a message that was halfway in a chat, I'd select with the keyboard, I'd select to reply. The reply options would appear on the right, but I had to tab through all the other, because there wasn't a bypass to go to that. It didn't move your focus to the reply section. I had to go through all the messages to the bottom, which then changed the reply options to the last focused message. So I could only reply to the last message within the chat because the keyboard focus wasn't going across. Technically, that wasn't an accessibility issue, that was a usability issue. But shouldn't we as advocates for accessibility not be about checkpoints, but be more about the users?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that,
You can always open a book at the media.
Yeah, I mean, you have to open
Yeah.
a bug. I think maybe what you really have to do is open some bugs with NVDA is what really needs to be done. Because, I mean, the reason I asked this question is for years, we put in all the ARIA labels and all that stuff and the screen readers wouldn't read them.
And now
Yeah.
they do.
Now they do, but it took us so many years to get them to read that stuff.
Yeah.
I've never been told it wasn't accessible, but.
I guess what I would say though is to your example, Helen, that to me fails logical order, fails reading sequence, it fails.
Yep.
Right. So I would disagree that it's accessible. And I think this is just one of those common things where we say like, it sounds good to say, well, it's technically compliant, but it's not usable. Well, then it's probably not technically compliant.
Right.
Like I can always find you a fault with WCAG somewhere if the thing's not usable.
Well, yeah, there is
So-
that. But for someone who's not trained in accessibility,
Right. And that was gonna be my question for you is, have you, with the Storybook integration, have you explored adding to the components some recommended prompts for
That-
AI?
yes, that's my next step. I haven't got there yet. And I'm slightly scared because I'm waiting to get access. They're going to let me into their development code and their design code, which is great. It's a great adventure. So I'm going to try my best to make sure it works. And yes, the usability, accessibility. I've found that someone who is trained with the checkpoints could say something passes when another person can say it fails, because we have a lot of subjectivity within the field as well. What is okay for one person is not okay. And I often find it's lived experience as well. If you know users that are blocked by, or if you know people that can't work out the workaround. I was trying to test like I'm an intelligent beginner, in the fact that I don't know the shortcuts. I'm not a power user. And I always think, would my mum be able to do this? And if my mum couldn't, then it's definitely a bug. She's very intelligent, school teacher, but when it comes to IT, it's all foreign. So yes, it's, and I agree, that is technically a 243, like if you hit the reply button, maybe the focus should jump to it. But then again, if you accidentally hit the button and you didn't want to have your focus jumping about the place, shouldn't there be maybe a shortcut that allows you to jump to it so that you can choose? Because I do think the biggest thing with accessibility is giving the users a choice. For those at home, we've just had a small explosion, it's all good. But yes, what we need is the choice, people to have the choice to move their focus, people to have, when people have that load more button that will load more content above the button, people often say, oh, you should move the focus to the top of the newly loaded content. And I said, what about the keyboard users that can see they don't want to go to there and they want to load more? Shouldn't it be better that the screen reader user hears that there's more content loaded above that they can navigate if they choose to, but the keyboard user doesn't have to jump back down again? So it's trying to be the advocate for the best case for everyone. And it's rubbish for everyone when you start making compromises on behalf, but it's thinking about what is the biggest pain points. I find the more information you give to the user, the better experience they can have, because they can then, but then again, I also get told by these things, I've got a screen reader on, do I want the accessible version? I turned it on, it didn't make any difference. It was just like, so yeah, I don't think I've really answered your question though. I don't know.
So it seems like.
You did. So I was asking about Storybook, but I think you brought up a really good point. I liken it to, I gave a presentation here years ago called like, don't touch me, right? About don't touch my focus. You wouldn't pick me up from this room and take me to the next session I want to go to. You might say, there's another one over there. Do you want to go to it? Right? Like, that's fine. You're giving me information. Just in the same way we don't need to be dragging users' focus. So I totally agree with you on that front. And I think the idea of the Storybook piece being, if we're going to have people using AI, can we over-engineer our prompts? Sure, we're writing more in a prompt than we should have to, right? We should be able to say, create accessible CAPTCHA. It uses the CAPTCHA component, it uses the input component, does what it, but it's not smart enough for that. So instead we have to put all of the bullet points of the things we want. And I just wonder at what point, this is probably next year's presentation, right? But it's like, I wonder at what point, does 3 pages of bullet lists of accessibility requirements into an AI to create a thing didn't actually solve our problem.
Yeah, it's not
So-
enough. It doesn't have enough information. It's not.
Yeah.
So thanks.
May I have the hand up here?
Yes, hi. I just had a quick question, basically. So from the example that we went through today and from, maybe a lot of our experiences using these AI tools, it seems like it's not there yet. Like, it doesn't create something that's fully accessible. And so I guess the question is, should the question be, how do we make this work better for accessibility? If it doesn't even work that well, should we be advocating that you shouldn't be using these AI tools in the first place?
I do believe developers should know how to code.
Mhm.
That is one thing that
That's a hot take.
when I was told that the new developers aren't, they're just using, I'm not even going to finish that with English. But basically, I do think the tools are good.
Mhm.
They can help someone who doesn't know how to code very well, the ability to help and to input directly to the work being done. I don't know. I mean, maybe after the keynote, I'm slightly wary now about sharing my brain with the AI bot, but then again, if we always worry about something new, are we just trying to stay in the past, which is when you do end up losing your job? If you don't try to look at what the issues are, how you can help and how you can help drive it forward, my take is it's never going to completely 100% replace a human verifier, whether it's someone who's checking that what's coming out is compliant or if there's gaps in the knowledge. And in some ways, it might make our lives easier because if more of the grunt work, I call it grunt work, like when you do an audit and if they haven't done any unit testing using an automated tool, others are available, by the way, then you notice lots of issues that would have been addressed by the lint tool or whatever they choose. And it's the same here. If we can make AI work better so that we're not having to log obvious issues and we're looking at the edge cases, the more fun and exciting ones, how to solve world peace, that would be a good one, wouldn't it? But yes, it is one of those things. If we look at what we're at now, how we want to change it to adapt to our current needs and how it can help in the future, then hopefully, touch wood, it doesn't replace us. Yes, it just grows with us.
Yes.
I don't see it as, there's a lot of fear because of, there's a few films, apparently they're a bit anti-AI for some reason, I don't know. But then again, at the same time, I've watched films that tell me that if I go to America, I might get shot. That would mean I'd never leave the house, wouldn't it? No, there's so many stereotypes we can have about things that might not be 100% accurate. And I think we just got to have more open minds. Sorry, the accessibility world. We're lovely. We embrace change, don't we? So, sorry, I'm all for positive thinking.
That makes sense. But I guess I'm just thinking about like the example like with Figma sites, they just released this AI tool to help create a website really quickly. And the point is that it's super accessible for people to start writing a website without knowing how to make a website, but it's filled with accessibility issues. So are we creating a more difficult path for us by using AI? Like with the CAPTCHA example, CAPTCHA is a notoriously difficult problem to solve for accessibility. If I were asked by like my higher up to create an accessible CAPTCHA, I would say, wait a second, we shouldn't create an accessible CAPTCHA. We should use Google's CAPTCHA. They've solved the problem for us. They've done this difficult issue, you know. We should, it has its own issues, but it's already has an accessibility features. It has cookies to verify if someone's using a screen reader and just skip the CAPTCHA entirely. Like, I would think that like maybe it's going against the shift left idea, because now we're going down a rabbit hole of what the AI is telling us it thinks we should do, and it's not actually what we should have been doing in the first place.
Yes.
I just wanted to add a comment. Oh, you had a comment.
That's all I was gonna do.
So I think that AI is still a tool. And so if somebody gives you a saw to chop down the trees and somebody else, and it's like, well, that's not solving the problem. The axe was better, right? But if somebody gives you a chainsaw, and it's like, yeah, now this is helping. So you got to judge that. I think that's a really wise comment there. Yeah. So like, is the tool helping me do better? If it's creating more problems, then get a different AI tool.
Yeah.
If you have a saw, you can cut something. If you have a chainsaw, you can cut it a whole lot faster, and that can be a bad thing.
Just don't cut your leg.
Yeah, the only thing was interesting because some of the designers from our company went to the thing, or they were following Figma and they were like, this is awesome. And we're like, yeah, but it's not accessible. Oh, that'll come. Don't worry about it. And AI will fix that eventually. There's like this, and obviously they're younger than me. They're like, oh yeah, it'll come. And I'm like, I don't know. It hasn't so far.
Yeah.
What I noticed from this, it was really enlightening, is they didn't train this AI well enough.
They didn't train the
For
person trying to use it
accessibility.
either.
No, what I mean is, you know, they didn't give it enough sample data. I mean, think of all the sample data that you and I and everyone in this room does for accessibility. I mean, it takes us 2 or 3 years to really get a feel for it. Obviously, they didn't give it enough data they didn't give it enough bad sites and good sites.
And over here.
Yeah, I'm just curious if you have anything to say about Cursor, or if you tried Cursor, or you would compare Windsurf to Cursor.
My experience has been just with Windsurf so far. Like basically, this is my first exploration, and I was meant to start this in January, and I kind of put it off until I had to write a talk about it. So it's one of those, it wasn't because I was scared, it was because I was busy, okay? But yes, it is one of those, I have to admit, I figured it might be a lot of work and a lot of brain transfer. The brain to brain, the VP said the developers don't have time for. In a way, I've got to try and do that with the library. And I've been told that we can extend this session because the next one's got cancelled. But if people need to go, don't worry. I'm not going to hold you accountable for staying. But
So I think there's an evaluation.
oh,
Mr.
it's in the book.
Is it-
There's a QR code, the bottom QR code in the notebook where you can give
So as your
feedback.
reward for getting your coffee and treats, please fill out the evaluation.
But yeah, if anyone's got any other questions and anyone wants to give me any tips, please do.